I welcome you all on behalf of Poornima Institute of Engineering and Technology, Jaipur. I, Shuchi Shukla, Head of Department Electrical Engineering, PIT, Jaipur. Department of Electrical Engineering and Electronics and Communication Engineering is organizing an international webinar on understanding the gap between industry dynamics and university curriculum in association with Poornima Alumni Association. I would like to introduce our first presenter, Mr. Dhirendra Mishra, Release and Integration Manager, ATG. Mr. Dhirendra Mishra is working as a Release and Integration Manager at ATG Stockholm, Sweden. It's a great achievement for us, sir. Welcome, sir. He is an alumni of Poornima Institute of Engineering and Technology, Jaipur. He has more than 10 years of in IT service design and projects, Scrums, IT services design, government and architecture in multi-supplier environment. He graduated from Poornima Institute of Engineering and Technology, Jaipur in 2011, Electronics and Communication Engineering branch. Further studies Masters in Software System from BITS Plani. Currently, he is pursuing Masters from Stockholm University in Decision Support and Risk Analysis. He has a strategic skill, big picture thinker for global change organization delivery with tactical ability. He has worked with Ericsson and HCL before this current assignment with ATG. Now, I would like to introduce our another presenter, Mr. Amrish Pandey, Manager IDC, Windmoller, North America. Mr. Amrish Pandey is working as a Manager IDC at Windmoller, North America. He had spent most of his professional life working with Windmoller and Hollister KG in one or another sister company. W&H is a world leader in machine manufacturing for the flexible packaging industry with a wide range of products located in Langrich, Germany. He started his career as service engineer in 2008 with W&H India office. Then he was responsible for electrical aspect of installation and commissioning for the blown film line. He had been a wonderful journey traveling around the world for service assignments, finally have been moved to the USA in 2016 currently. Thank you, sir. Most welcome you, Dhirendra, sir. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Dhirendra Sharma, sir, for start the presentation.
Thank you, Suchi ma'am. I hope my screen is visible to all, and thank you to Poornima for giving me this opportunity to interact with the faculties and students. And I feel really good to be in the same company that I have pursued my engineering, and it's quite pleasure to talk and interact to all of you. So today's topic that we are going to cover is understanding the gap between industry dynamics and university curriculum. I think it's an evergreen topic that has been in discussion for the last 2 decades, where things have changed rapidly, and if you see around, everything has changed if you compare the current decade with the previous ones. So we'll start with the first discussing on what we are going to discuss today. So we will set an agenda for today's discussion. And today we are going to discuss the problem. The problem statement is the gap between industrial needs and how our curriculum in universities are designed. And then we will try to talk about how we as a faculty and as a student can try to fill the gap by acquiring the required skills that are needed in the industry to cope up the competition and to make our place in the industry. We'll talk a little bit about it, and also we'll talk what we can do now. We cannot change the university curriculum in just one day, or we cannot cover the wide topic that we have for today in just 1 hour, but we can of course make an attempt to understand what is the gap and what we can do right now. So that's all that we are going to do today. We will start with the first topic. and that is understanding the gap and coming a little closer to the problem. And in order to understand that, we need to understand how the industry has changed from Industrial Revolution 1 until now, and then today's Industrial Revolution is considered as fourth Industrial Revolution. I'm going to share a video, and if you feel that it is quite fast, then we can play it again. Just let me know. But we'll start with understanding how the industries has changed and what led to these changes. So I'll try to play it now. Okay, I feel it could be quite too fast for us to understand what this video was aimed to describe, and for that reason, I thought it will be good to discuss the screens one by one. And for that, I took some snapshot from the video. This video was created, or I would say made by Deloitte UK, and you can get it on YouTube. You just need to search Industrial Revolutions from 1 to 4. So you will get that video, and it is also available in my screen. And you can note down the source also. And I will share this presentation with Nikita ma'am and Priyanka ma'am, so you can take the presentation from her as well. So I will proceed with the discussion of Industrial Revolution, how it all originated and how it all ignited. So in 1850, around 1850, we started with the discovery of how to generate power from steam, and that led to improve the productivity of our factories at that time. And we also started off running trains through steam, and that was a huge achievement at that period of time. And we termed that Industrial Revolution, more or less the credit goes to the power generation that has improved the productivity across the industry and also led to a massive revolution at that time. And then around 1900, industrialization has started taking pace with the focus on mass manufacturing and improving the infrastructure around us. And that led to the second industrial revolution. The third one, the third industrial revolution more goes to the discovery of or invention of computing and the internet, and the way we got connected to the world. And it was around 1970s we started to build computers and also started to think using machines to automate most of the jobs that we do in industry. So these three revolutions have their own place in our world of technology and development and where the world is today. And coming on to the fourth industrial revolution, let's see what we have in the next slide, that we call Industry 4.0, and that is more or less the credit goes to how the AI and machine learning has developed and how the things are connected over internet, making a world a more smaller space. And you can see a lot of applications in the video as well as on the screen. That is a screenshot from the video. Like we have optimized the performance, we have connected our assets, and we connected our people in factories and also machines to make workplace more safer and efficient environment. We have also thought of predictive maintenance with the industry 4.0, where we, before the machines break down, we predict them when they can break down, and to take measures to increase the uptime and reduce the breakdowns and downtime in factories or in our websites that we use for our day-to-day purpose. Because now we know that everything is online, and we make sure that all our websites, or like Google or Facebook, go without any breakdowns. And if there are seconds of a breakdown, then it comes on news. So you know the sensitivity of doing the right things at the right time and keeping things running. Then we also see a possible application of industry automation in smart supply chain, where the things are visible, starting from procurement to the delivery. You can track your things where they are right now, and then optimize production. As we mentioned, that machines are getting connected, they're talking to each other, so we see optimized production. And that will also lead to intelligent products, of course, where products like Alexa and Google Assistant are helping us to fold our curtains and turn on the TV, play the music. These are small applications, but future is very near, where things will be more automated and you can control the products around you with your voice and with your gesture. So we are witnessing a very strange world where we are the generation which will face these changes, and it will be quite good to see what future have for all of us. So now in these slides, what we have done is that we have got an overview how the industry is changing and how the things are evolving around us. And that lead us to a very big question: are our curriculum or universities that are building courses, are designing the courses as per the need of industry? And are we making our students capable of handling these competitive changes around them, and also to cope up with the technology? And I was trying to find out some facts and figures, but it was too difficult because of the data that we have on internet. So I relied on Economic Times, and I got these two screenshots from Economic Times that talks about research or a survey, I would say, from one of organization that says that 94% of engineering graduates are not fit for hiring. And this statement was by one of IT company. And I would say that you should go and read this article on Economic Times. But what I mean to discuss with the help of this screenshot is that this indicates a very significant need of adapting to the change around us, and also to make our students capable of handling future challenges. I mean, university can teach us the technology. University can teach us how the current scenario is, but university cannot teach us how the future will look like, because things are changing very rapidly. So in today's session, we'll try to focus on what we can do now and adapt to changing scenario around us, instead of blaming on universities or blaming on those who design the curriculum, because they have done as per their need when the curriculum was designed. And what we have now is that how we can cope up with current situation. And also when we are talking about current situation, we should not forget about COVID. And the second screenshot talks about that has led to a lot of layoffs and discussions around the world because of the industry is going on halt and nothing is being running, and that is leading to a lot of job losses. So we should also think of how we can make ourselves in always in demand, and once the industry resumes, how we can make ourselves competent enough to get our things running. And either it is job or either you want to start your own business, you should think of all those worst cases, and you should be prepared all the time uh, when you're running a business or you are pursuing a job. So it's a matter of how we building ourselves and keeping up the pace with industry. Okay, if you have any question or queries, you can write down in comments and we will take them up one by one in the end of the session. Okay, so we move on to the next slide. Uh, Talking about the variables in, in, in the current situation where we are talking about industry changes and also the gap between. So what we did is we talked about industry dynamics, we talked about first industrial revolution, second revolution, third, and we went on to talk about fourth one, where we talked about connecting factories, machines, and having a good traceability in supply chain, keeping predictive maintenance to keep our things running. And then we went on to discuss the gap between industry and, and academics. And these are the screenshots that I was referring to. These are screenshots from Economic Times that talks about a survey being done across different participants. And there was a comment from one of IT companies that 94% of engineering graduates are not fit for hiring, and for that purpose they need to invest a lot in training and making them employable and putting them on work. And our all thanks goes to our industry leaders like Infosys, TCS, and also Tech Mahindra, who have a big training campuses across India, and they're investing heavily to make students trained and keep up with the industry needs. But we as a university can also try to do our part in motivating students, and that we will talk in further slides. And then we went on to discuss how we can prepare ourselves during the challenging times, whether it is of a recession or whether it is of a pandemic. So we should try to build ourselves in a way that whatsoever is the situation, we are in always demand. And that is only possible when we are learning and making ourselves equipped with coming technologies and skills that are in need, so we don't get obsolete. And we went on to discuss the variables in the next slide. So we were here. And if you have any question or queries, feel free to write in the comments, so we take them in the end. I'll try to save some time for it. And Suchi ma'am, do let me know before 15 minutes we are about to end the session, so I can capture the question and queries.
Sure, sir, sure.
Okay, so we went on to talking about the variables. What are the variables that we have in hand in considering the situations we are in, where the industry needs are foreseeing a gap between academics and industry. The first one was engineering institutions. In India, it is rapidly growing, and also there has been a lot of news about not all the institutions are able to fill their positions or fill their students' seats. And that is leading to a lot of shutdowns of colleges and universities. And this rapid growth is in count, and what we need to focus is on the quality of institutions. I have been very fortunate to be associated with Poornima, and I feel I was one of the first among the students for the first batch of PIT. And I feel like when you start something new, you have all the possibilities to do things with your own hand. So I feel very fortunate that I was the part of first batch of PIT, and I think all our alumni from first batch are doing really pretty well. And the only reason is that we got constant feedbacks, and we got constant motivation from that time. We had Manoj Gupta as our principal. So he constantly used to walk in classrooms and try to motivate students how they can do good, how they can be different from what other students are doing. So I would say Poornima is in right hands, and with good faculties around us. So I feel the quality that we are imparting is really good. What we need is a little bit of calibration in what industry needs, and how we can be part of that change. The second variable talks about skill demand. I just took an example from NASCAM that predicts that we will need 6 million people, or I would say 6 million employees that should be working in cybersecurity by 2022. And forcing things are going online. We know that there will be need of cybersecurity professionals. So we should focus on things like cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, machine learning in academics, and how we can motivate students to learn these skills and make themselves equipped with skills in demand.
Excuse me, sir, Dhirendra
And
sir. Sorry
yes,
for interrupt you. Actually, your voice is not audible for some participants. So please, little bit loudly.
okay,
Speak
okay,
little bit loudly. Thank
okay.
you so much, sir.
No problem. It could be internet also could be a problem for the voice
Yes,
issue.
sir.
I would say that you can those who see issues with the audio, they can turn off their video, because video will be available after the session also. So that will help you to get a good quality of voice, and you can watch the video or slides later on by requesting to the faculties from Poornima. Okay, so we'll move to the third variable, students. And what student can do is that they can constantly develop their skills, and and it depends on the student what kind of skill they want to inculcate. Like I gave an example of cybersecurity. Some could be interested in cybersecurity, some could be interested in machine learning, some could be interested in some creative artwork. So I think all skills are in demand. It depends how good you are at it. So students should focus on identifying what they really want to do. We should not just go by the figures like cybersecurity needed in future, so I should do something in cybersecurity. No, we should try to find out what I enjoy working with, and then we try to inculcate those skills in ourselves so we don't get bored after a certain time. So students should focus on their skill development. They need to be adaptive, because what skills you are learning today or what you are being taught in universities today might not be of relevance for today or for future when you go out from the university. So you have to be adaptive. You have to be constantly learning. That the third point I mentioned, the learning capability. We should try to build up a capability of learning new things in quite less time, so that you keep on changing with the changing world. That's what I wanted to say. And then the fourth point is AI market, how the market is around you when you go out from the university. And of course, it's not necessary that you should only keep a watch when you're about to pass out, or when university should not only focus on the market when the students are about to pass out, but we should keep a watch on the market all the time so we can change our path and get adapted to how the market is behaving. Right now, market is quite I would say, decline mode because of coronavirus. But things will change, of course, and nothing is permanent. So of course the market will change, and this is the time to invest in our learning curve. So the market more or less in future will be more or less will be AI driven. There will be more products and applications built upon Internet of Things that we talked about in Industry 4.0. More industries will adapt cloud. So of course the cloud specialty will be in demand in future, of course. And lots of subjects have incorporated cloud computing, mostly in electronics and communication and uh, and IT and computer science. But it is also important for mechanical students and electrical students to learn about information security, to learn about cyber security, to learn about cloud computing, because machines are also getting connected. So uh, things have not been only limited to IT students. They are more or less in general now. So you should not think that I'm from electrical background or I'm from mechanical background, so I need not to learn any of these new things that IT students keep on talking about. So we should keep a watch on market as well. We move on to the next slide. We are left with 30 more minutes, so we will try to take a little bit pace. Foreseeing the current environment and how India is placed across the world, I feel it is an opportunity for all of us. And like I mentioned, when we do things for the first time, it's always a good opportunity. India is among one of those developing nations who had good reputation, who has making world to look at India to help them, to support them, not only for IT but for other fields as well. So world is looking at India for IT skills and talent. If I go by one of the surveys or research done on LinkedIn, it indicates that right in the order that USA is on top of getting IT people from India, and also followed by USA, Australia, UK, Singapore, and Germany are, of course, in need for getting IT people to be delivered or to be shared with these countries. So there is a lot of immigration and I would say migration going on, and and need. World is looking at India for the talent. So I think it's a good opportunity for us. Coming on to the next bullet that I have kept is fastest growing sectors in the world. According to article published on yourstory.com, India is one of the fastest growing service sectors, has fastest growing service sector in the world. So what does it mean? That it means that it will give us more opportunity to uh, start our own startup or give us more job opportunities. So it's our good time to build up the skill and be in demand. And the third thing is growing startup ecosystem. Like we consider Bangalore as a hub of startups. I feel now the youth has come to a stage where they don't think of only jobs, they think of solutions for the society, for the problems they see around them. So I feel we're in a good phase of evolution where things are changing rapidly, and that is giving us a lot of startup opportunities. And then there is a lot of boost on Make in India. And considering the current situation across the world is looking to invest heavily on infrastructure and manufacturing plants, and that will give us an opportunity to be more employable, to be more more in demand. And what we need is to match up with these opportunities, whether it is about USA, Australia, UK looking for IT skilled people, or whether it is uh, having a service sector that is on a rapid growth, or whether it is a startup ecosystem. How we can make of use for these opportunities is that we constantly develop ourselves. Okay, we move on to the next slide. and that talks about jobs in demand. I tried to figure out what are the top jobs that are in demand in India, and according to LinkedIn 2018 and 19 survey that they did, uh, we got these job positions as top in demand. And if you see, most of the jobs like robotics, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, whether you talk about blockchain, all these are new uh, words you might be hearing on day-to-day basis, that future is of more of robotics, of artificial intelligence. And as these surveys indicates, that these are the top jobs that are growing heavily in India. What we need is the skills. We have one more slide that talks about what are the skills that are needed. And I have tried to keep the source of all these studies in all the slides. So if you get access to these slides, go to the source of these articles and try to read them. They have a good amount of information, like for the job for blockchain developer, what are the skills you need and how you can develop them. So please make sure you go and reach out to our webinar organizer and try to get these slides, and also go through this URLs. I will not go to discuss one by one all the jobs because of the time, but of course, as the name predicts, like blockchain developer is someone who develops blockchain applications, and how solution can be developed is more or less part of blockchain developer. Similarly, Python is well known, and we have some webinars previously by Poornima that talked about the importance of Python. And also front-end engineers and back-end engineers, back-end developers, both work in hand. So one develops how the websites or applications will look like, and the back-end person will develop how the things will work and integrate with each other. Similarly, we need site reliability engineers to keep our applications and machines running. And similarly, we see a lot of urge for robotics engineers and automation specialists, cybersecurity specialist, as we talked about. And these are the technical roles, but we also need people from marketing. So it's like you yourself witness every day that digital marketing is taking uh, taking a lot of hype in today's world, where we get ads on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and talk about any social media. Every social media is trying to make money from these tools. And then lead generation specialists and growth managers, they are none other than those who work towards growth of business and how you can get more customers. So it's not only the technology that needs people, it also the management, the leadership position, supply chain management, and if you talk about our machines, whether it is of electrical or mechanical, I think we need people from all the sectors, and all having a common understanding about information security, robotics. So we see in the next slide, what are the skills that will make us employable for those jobs that we have discussed. There are few skills that can be learned and taught in classroom, in college, but there are few skills that we need to develop on our own. And LinkedIn predicted that in 2020, these are the soft skills that will be in demand. Soft skills like creativity, collaboration, persuasion, adaptability, emotional intelligence. These are the skills that are higher in demand, and foreseeing the situation around us when we are working from home and whole day we are confined within a room. it is important that we do not lose our temper, we do not feel stressed. So emotional intelligence play a quite heavy role in, in current situation. Similarly, things are changing, so we need to be adaptive, as we discussed in previous slides as well. Technology changes very fast, and might be the things we learn today might get obsolete tomorrow, so we have to be adaptable. We should be persuasive in nature, like we should be able to convince a team to work towards a common goal instead of just focusing on our selfish agenda. So we have to be a little collaborative and work as a team, whether it is a classroom in your university, or whether you are working as a faculty, or whether different departments are there. If they will work together, then only we will be able to achieve our common goal. So I think it's relevant for all the fields we're working in, whether it is academics or whether it is industry. We need these soft skills in all areas. Then creativity, there are things to present or to uh, say or to design, and I think creativity is playing a big role in today's world. We can get someone to code, but we can't get someone who is very creative while coding. So it's mix of technology and soft skills that will make you more employable. And nothing is impossible. So if you consider yourself that I'm not creative, it's a very big, I would say, false. You should try to see how you can inculcate collaborative behavior, how you can learn to persuade anyone, or how you should be able to control your anger or stress or time. So it's all these skills that differentiates you. Now coming on to the hard skills, as we seen in the previous slide, there are requirement of blockchain developers, there are cloud specialists needed. Analytical reasoning is of course needed, because we have tools to do analytical study or report. And then we need someone to make a reasoning out of it and make it fruitful for the industries. Like we see a lot of data around COVID nowadays, and we see lots of reports coming out that every hour 2 person dies, or every third hour there are 3 persons getting infected. I'm just quoting an example, it's not the real figure, just to give you an idea. So I think we need people from data science, and analytical reasoning is very closely related to data scientists that we see as a good future, because it will help us to predict a lot of things. Then artificial intelligence, UX design, business analyst, affiliate marketing, scientific computing. Scientific computing again is here connected to data science, where you do a lot of statistics and and study of data to make machines work according to those findings. And then video production, as we see around Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, lots of videos are being produced, and they are in good demand on these sites. So we feel these skills will help us also in future. And sales, of course, we need to be good at sales, whether we are in technology, whether we are in business, or whether we are in marketing, or whether we are in sales department itself. We need this skill to be able to sell our ideas, sell our technology, to sell our products. So these are the skills that matters according to LinkedIn for 2020. And I mentioned the source, so of course you can go on and read more about these skills. The article has a really good content in it, so I highly recommend to go through it. Coming on to the next slide, self-engineering and skill development. Is Amrish sir available on the? Yeah, Amrish sir, would you like to take this slide?
Sure. Sorry everybody for being late. Uh,
No problem.
so
Go ahead.
the idea about this to make these points were that when I was in Poornima, I felt that we really have a difference about preparing the students for their upcoming life. So we always talk about big things. So I wanted to point out this because it was more related to the faculty members and students also, that what points they can take as a day-to-day life, and overall it will help them to get better prepared for the forthcoming life after college, after 4 years of college. I believed always that motivation is the most important point or the key point throughout the life of engineering. Our motivation can be for pursuing their goals, their dreams, or whatever they want to prepare themselves for the future. To prepare themselves, they can have a better understanding of softwares or computers. They can prepare themselves of very common softwares that we use in the computers like Microsoft Office. Even if they go with Excel, it will be really great because that will give them better understanding of using a tool and will prepare them better for the industry, because Excel is a commonly used tool and most of the people even don't know how to use the full functionality of Excel itself. Same thing goes with a very small skill like typing, and they even I see my colleagues, they even cannot type properly and they use two fingers to type. So these are very common things that can be used during 4 years of curriculum, through college, or just motivating students to participate in extra activities. Same thing goes with analytical thinking. We always think about problem solving. That is the core point for engineering. And to have that analytical thinking, it can be developed, it can be molded in the students through a period of time. Linguistic still. I work from a German company, Dhirendra work for a Swedish company. We both felt, or in general, we feel that if there is a second language learned by the students throughout their time in college, it would always be beneficial in their forthcoming life. There are n number of languages they can choose. Mostly used languages are German, or you can choose any other European language. And if they like, they can go with any East Asian language too. And we use whatever we learn in college. If we go with most of the industry, or say either it's IT or core job, depending upon which industry you go, most of the time after 2 or 3 years, you just use the basics of engineering. Everybody forgets, or everybody has no use for advanced engineering that we learn in college. So I believe that these basics should be very clear for each and every student that goes through the college, whether it's common subjects or it's their special subjects. Apart from that, what I felt when I started my job as a job in my current company was that we do not have hands-on experience throughout our 4-year course in college. The work we did was more based on the book knowledge. We read a lot of books, we understood a lot of theories, we did a lot of experiments based on those theories, but we lacked the hands-on skill. And that's why I put this small picture of a truck, which was the first job or the first assignment I had in my training company. It was a 1-year project, one week project where we have to use our own hands and machines to build up this truck. And it gave us all processes, including machining and tapping and drilling and filing and everything, that helped us in overall as an engineer to understand and to carry out the jobs on site and to guide other people to finish the job in a better way. I always felt when I was in India and did the recruitment that most of the time, the students we are going to recruit, they lack the information about what's going on in the industry and what tools are used in the industry. For example, there are software tools that software companies use. Same way, if you go for a core company, they have different core companies that employ different kind of softwares and hardware. and that is a big bridge between college and industry. And I always feel that it can be easily organized with college with help of the alumni, because every college has a tremendous amount of alumni who can join, and then do sessions on a monthly basis or weekly basis, and prepare students about what is in the industry, what might interest them, which field they want to go. I still remember when I was in college, it was mostly either GMAT or you can go for a government job, or there was no other options apart from these two. So I believe that the college as an institution should focus on preparing the students for the forthcoming life, along with whatever curriculum they need to follow along from the competent authority.
Thank you, Amrish sir, for taking up
Thanks,
this
Dhirendra.
slide. And you talked a very good point here, because languages play a very important role when you work with global clients, and specifically if you are in a European region, language becomes very critical. It doesn't matter how good you are in technology, if you don't know the language and if you're not able to convey the message that you want to, it's of no use. So we should look how we can inculcate a curriculum that gives a basic of language in our day-to-day life in universities and while pursuing our engineering degree. That will help a lot to students. Coming on to the big question that we had in our agenda as well, what we can do right now to inculcate the skills. I especially myself like Udemy a lot, because I get a lot of good quality content at a very reasonable price. And also the universities and for faculties and for students, universities and institutions are tying up with Udemy, LinkedIn Learning, EDX, and Coursera. And I think Poornima has a tie-up with Coursera already, because I've seen some certification from our faculty members on LinkedIn. So I would say that we should strongly try to utilize this. Udemy charges reasonable price, but all other sites like LinkedIn has few courses every month that are free. EDX, Coursera, and Linux Foundation also have some courses that are free. In Coursera, especially if you want to pursue a degree, you need to pay the fees, but you also have a financial aid available. So you should try to make use of that. And also Coursera has lots of courses are mostly are free of charges if you do not want a certification. And trust me, certificate are not of that important as the knowledge or skill you will gain from the course. So focus more on getting the knowledge instead of the certificates, because certificates might help you some way to reach out to the interview, but to get through the interview or to get through the real world problem, you need the knowledge and the skill. So I would strongly recommend you should go on to these sites. I myself have enrolled for more than 50 courses on Udemy, and I try to take up them one by one when I have time. So I would say that you should make best use of these websites. On Udemy, there's always a sale going on, so do not buy at first cost. So look for the sales. And also LinkedIn Learning has a lot of good courses for the students, for the faculty members. Try to make use of them, and especially Coursera and Udemy are my favorite. So it's up to you to go and explore these websites and try to find out what is there for you. All the skills that we had talked in here, all these courses are available on Udemy, Coursera, EDX, and Linux Foundation. Linux Foundation is more or less uh, related to Linux, but all the other sites have common courses available. So do explore. First of all, the important question is what interests you, and after that you should try to build the skill around it. We can take up any question or query because we are left with only 7 minutes. So if you have any question or query, feel free to discuss. These are the things that we thought of, that we should design our curriculum as per the industrial need. We should revise it frequently and should review it once we release it to the students, and how students are getting help from it. And we should also motivate students to get multi-skilled, and how we can sharpen the soft skills. I remember that when I was in Poornima, I used to attend some classes for developing soft skills, and we used to have classes for group discussion, and in class of communication, we used to talk and try to improve our communication skills. So I feel it's already there. We need to sharpen it more and try to get interest from students also. We
There
can
is
take
some,
questions.
yes, sir, there is some questions. First
Yeah.
question is from Brisk Kishore Soni sir side.
Mhm.
What it can be possible to find solution of this pandemic through quantum computer or supercomputer?
I think that's more or less the question goes to our researchers and scientific community out there. I will not be the right person to answer how we can make best use of technology to curb the pandemic that is around us. And I think lots of researchers and scientific community already are working on curbing the coronavirus and also developing a vaccine. And I feel we are not at that stage where we can use technology to kill a virus. We still rely heavily on our medical systems and also the technology aid in medical systems. So we need to just wait and see how our researchers and scientists develop that solution. Might
And the,
be it is possible in future, but we have to wait.
sure, sir. So then the next question is how to find the need of industry, how to find need of the industry towards the improvement in syllabus.
2 years back, or maybe 3 years, in 2017, I visited Poornima once, and also uh, not, yeah, maybe a few years back, not in 2017. I've been in 2017 to Poornima, but that was a separate topic of discussion. But I have been to Poornima for one of these sessions where Poornima invited a lot of industrial delegates to discuss this whole topic, how industries can develop the universities in a way that help them to solve the real world problem. Uh, Only solution is that to talk to industrial delegates, and as Amrish sir mentioned, that we should try to catch up with our alumni and try to have some monthly sessions on what are the different things going on in market and how students can prepare for it. I think it's a really viable solution.
Now, I would like to add one more thing in that. Uh, for understanding the industry, there are two levels that we can do it. One, I don't think any of the university has a freedom to decide their own curriculum. They have to follow the syllabus or the prescribed courses that is given by ACIET, if I'm not wrong. So if you want to change that, that would take a lot of efforts and with high level discussions between the industry leaders and the board of education, technical boards of education, to decide and formulate the curriculum, and then refreshing it will be again like a 5-year plan or 10 years plan. But what we can focus on right away is that how can a college or institute at its own level engage with the industries or local industries that are in that area. Apart from that, they will get the right information about the industries that are in that particular area, or in Jaipur, for example, has a lot of industries for both software and core companies. And if the institute engages with them, they will have a real-time information on what their demands are and what they need in a long term, like in 5 years, what they are projecting and what sort of manpower they will need. And that would help the students to prepare themselves for that. Sometimes it's not really the system that can do the best for the people, but sometimes, most of the time, it's the people who push the effort, they can achieve what they want to in the life. So I would say that getting more and more engaged with the industry will help in this field.
The next question is in Industry 4.0 revolution, the cyber attacks will much arises in this revolution. then what is security restrictions and planning have there for do secure our data?
I think all the companies are very strict towards information security, and they have some certain guidelines. Of course, Poornima might have its own security guidelines, how to share the information, how to keep the students' data and faculty data, and especially now when things are online, we must consider security for our own personal reasons also. And like we always get messages from banks and other bodies that never share the OTP. So these are the few examples how the security is revolving around us. And there are a lot of international bodies that are working on it. Uh, I would say for the students from IT, you should explore certifications like CISA, CISSP, and also there are courses for ethical hacking. And I think it's really in buzz for last 1 decade. So you should explore these courses, how you can make a career out of it, and for the keeping your data safety, I would say the normal common sense makes a lot. Like we do not want someone to sneak in our houses. Same goes with the data. We do not want others to look in our data. So take utmost precaution while sharing your data online or sharing information with others.
This is the last question. Last but not least, what is the use of lead generation specialist?
I would highly recommend, just to consider the interest of time for all, that you should go through the URLs that I have kept in the end of the slide. It has all the description for the jobs that I mentioned that are in demand, and also what are the skills that you need for it. In one line, I could say that lead generation specialists are responsible for converting those leads into customers. So if you are in that role, then your more or less responsibility is to bring more customers to the company or for your organization. I will share these slides with Suchi ma'am and Priyanka ma'am and Nikita ma'am, and you can get in touch with her to get these slides.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much.
Especially thanks to the people who have been the backbone of this webinar, Mr. Yatendra Seni. I also extend my thanks to all the Department of Electrical and Electronics, and I would also thank to our participants. Thank you so much. A special thanks to our management of Poornima Institute of Engineering and Technology for constantly giving their support to us. Once again, I wish to thank Mr. Dhirendra Mishra for his valuable feedback, question answer session, and his explanation. I hope everybody enjoyed the session and they will also learn the PPT and like our session. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.